President Trump has cut the funding for NPR and PBS. Now the CEOs realize what a mess they're in, and they're getting ready to challenge it in court. Today, we'll tell you what the defense might be and why we believe they won't win. Folks, they're at it again, and we've got the analysis you need. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we are so happy to be joined by you, wherever you are in this great, big, beautiful world. Well, we're coming to you from somewhere sunny USA. The studio is glistening because you're listening in. And folks, if you would consider being such a friend to the channel, click the like button. We'll dive in. Let's get started. Another video of excellence right now. Out of CNBC by Jennifer Liu, NPR and PBS CEOs say they'll challenge Trump administration over federal funding cuts. Now, I was always told that the guts of these things didn't really need the funding that they received from the American government. They were fine. That was always the argument. Don't cut the funding. It's just nice, but we don't need it. We can do without it. Now they're shouting out and saying, don't do it. Oh, no. Oh, no. The CEOs of NPR and PBS said they will challenge President Donald Trump's executive order to end public funding to the organizations. They said, we're looking at whatever options are available to us, Catherine Marr said on Sunday's Face the Nation. The execs said funding cuts would immediately harm local news stations, audiences in rural areas, and the development of children's programming. By the way, the claim about it hurting audiences in rural areas is essentially saying that they don't have internet. But listen, with Starlink, everybody has internet. They just do. Everybody who wants internet basically has internet now. The CEOs of NPR and PBS said they're looking at options to challenge the Trump administration following the president's executive order to cut off public funding to the news and media organizations. I would say that to some degree, I'm not claiming the kids' stuff is, but a lot of the stuff they have on their channels is just flat out propaganda. And that's the way it is. It says, we have never seen, this is Catherine Marr again, the NPR CEO, we have never seen a circumstance like this, and obviously we're going to be pushing back very hard. As of May 2nd, at least 135 lawsuits have been filed to at least temporarily pause some of the Trump administration's executive orders, which would mean, by the way, that they are not able to keep up with all the executive orders, because I think there are more executive orders than the lawsuits at this point, including over issues such as firing of thousands of federal employees, DOGE, immigration policies, tariffs, and others. Why that matters, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why that paragraph exists. NPR's Marr said potential funding cuts would hit local stations and their audiences the most. NPR has 246 member organizations with newsrooms in every state. Again, I would suggest, and I'm not trying to be partisan here, I'm just trying to say there's not a single conservative who thinks that NPR is putting out content for them. There's not even a single moderate who believes that. NPR is as far to the left as you can go. That's just the way it is. I'm not going to be here and say, well, Fox News is definitely not a right-wing cable channel, because that would be ludicrous. And NPR, I'm going to tell you, NPR is not anything but left-leaning and more than leaning. So why is government money going to one and not the other? Federal funding cuts would be damaging to journalists covering their local communities. Wait a minute. I got to pause there. Hang on a second. Since when does NPR cover their own local communities with local journalists? Like, that's being done by the local news stations, not NPR. What are they talking about?
Well, no, what they're talking about is if they have less money, that's where they will cut it.
Oh,
they still have discretion over what they have left and where to spend it. Doesn't it strike anyone as ironic that these urban, yuppie Washington, D.C., New York types are so concerned about rural areas?
Listen to this, Lo. Listen to this, Lou. Lou, listen to this. I don't believe this at all, this next thing. 20%, that's 1 out of 5, of Americans don't have access to other local source of news. I don't believe that. I mean, I don't know where that statistic comes from. You're telling me that 1 out of 5 people are in a geographic location where they can't read about local news because, that means they don't have internet. That means they don't have local cable or radio. So, I'm sorry. I don't know where NPR is getting that statistic. Maybe we have missed out on the isolated Inuit communities that NPR is broadcasting to over on the northwest sections of Alaska. I don't get this. Panel, let me bring you in. We'll start with Lou. Lou, I go to you because What say you when it comes to NPR and PBS being defunded? Now they're on even ground with the other organizations out there. The other organizations don't get U.S. money. Now neither do NPR and PBS.
And more power to it. Like I say, the idea that they give a damn about anything in the rural area, except, oh my God, they're liable to read all those websites. They're liable to see all of this stuff that we don't like if we're not there to combat it with ours. They don't like it because, and again, however much money they do have, they choose how to spend it. So if they're saying this cut obligates them to somehow cut off all these so-called rural sources of news, that's their choice. Notice NPR receives 1% of its funding. 1% of its funding from the federal government.
Well, that's what they claimed. And of course, Larry Elder has run for the governorship of California under the Republican banner. Larry Elder is not a friend of NPR or PBS. But listen, he's quoting somebody, so we're going to put it up on the screen because it's an accurate quote. And if the U.S. government is only funding 1%, then this doesn't matter. The fact that they're acting as if it does matter indicates to me that this quote was always a bunch of nonsense, and they knew it. They were just gaslighting. Vash, Lauren, what say you?
I mean, the whole idea that you have these media entities in the form of NPR and PBS being taxpayer subsidized in the way that they were was always kind of strange and weird. But to say that, oh, well, these people, they don't have access to news. How else will they get news, bro? How else can we get that propaganda? I mean, that news disseminated to them. How else can that happen? It's just, I don't think that play is going to actually work with the American populace.
Listen, I'm actively right now looking up, are there places in the United States that don't have internet? And the answer seems to be no. I am searching desperately. If anybody out there can help me, if you're in the chat right now, if you want to drop a comment, if you know where there is no internet, and I'm talking about you can't get Starlink, where is this location that you cannot, that has cloud cover most of the time and has no internet whatsoever? Like, I can tell by state that there are percentages, but those are people choosing to not have internet. For example, in the state of Utah, 8.8% of households do not have the internet, which means that 8.8% said, I don't want to spend on internet. This is crazy. I mean, the idea, the stuff they say is just bonkers. It's crazy.
That's the thing, though. I mean, if we are to assume that they don't have internet or don't even have access via Starlink or any other methodology, then how exactly do they have broadcast linear coming to them?
And how exactly could you even query them? How could you even query them about, are you watching NPR or PBS? They don't have internet. Like, how are they receiving the thing?
Is it in the census? I have no idea where that data actually comes from.
Lauren, get in here. Lauren, please help us. Please help us understand, and unmute before you do.
Yeah, I don't really have any additional thoughts other than what you've already said. I would go for the gaslighting. I think when they say that they only receive 1% in federal funding, that's likely untrue. But even if it is untrue, if you're getting government cheese, if you're getting additional monetary streams coming in, of course you're going to squall if it's under threat or you're going to lose it. Nobody likes to lose money. So I'm not surprised that they're screaming about it. I just wonder why at this point are we continuing to subsidize these kinds of outlets? I don't see how it's serving the public interest at this point any longer.
And let me just say this too, Lauren, because this is something that comes up often. People will say, well, what about the children's? And we say that on this channel. We're all about the children. But, the idea that this is going to end Big Bird or Elmo, they already did that. PBS already handed Sesame Street off to HBO, and HBO already canceled Sesame Street. Like, this is nonsense, folks. They don't care about the stuff that you think they care about. You're trying to defend them, and they're not defending the things that are part of their legacies. So let it be. Let's find out what they do when they lose their 1%.
But 2 points. One, isn't it ironic that the same people,
Don't you think?
or at least birds of a feather, are saying, "Oh, we can't lose the Muppets," are the same people who are tearing the Muppets down at Disney World, basically.
Yes.
Secondly, when you watch a PBS show, which occasionally you might do, you see this was funded by a grant from such and such corporation. So they can't go to all those corporations and say, "Hey, could you give us 1% more?"
I'm still trying to find anywhere that doesn't have internet. I'm still working on it.
I really don't know. I really have to think about that, and then I don't know. You got to think about remember the plan to get everybody hooked up to high speed, and then that never went anywhere, even though billions were allocated for it. Very strange. But Lauren, do you remember to your early teachings? All who gain power are afraid to lose it, I believe is what the line actually is, even for publicly funded entities by viewers like you. That's really what's going on here. I mean, 1% doesn't sound like a whole lot, but they sure are treating it as if it is a whole lot with their outrage.
Speed. What about low speed? What about in between speed?
Well, that's what I'm looking here. And so the places that don't seem to have internet are the places that seem to also not have people. Like the vast areas in the West that you're seeing over there, that's Nevada. And a lot of that is government-owned areas that are completely devoid of any population. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry. And even if they don't have broadband in the areas where nobody lives, they would still have radio. Anyway, I can't. It's too much. But if you wanted to use this, if you wanted to say, well, there are 8.3 million places that don't have broadband internet access, and by golly, we're going to make sure that NPR and PBS are broadcast to the armadillos in need. Well, there you go. The armadillos and the roadrunners, they're going to get their NPR propaganda.
And to be fair, Pro, those new Corvettes don't have AM radio, so that you have to weigh that.
That's a good point. I don't even think they've got a cassette tape player in them. Weird.
I don't think so.
Weird. And yet again, folks, we have come to the end. But what a video it has been, and we hope you agree. Folks, if you had a good time with us, consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment right on down below. We care about your thoughts. Folks, we also want to invite you to partake in thatparkplace.com. Of course, www. You get the idea. Thatparkplace.com. It is the website telling the truth, and it is a rising star across the web for pop culture news coverage and analysis. Go over there and bookmark it today. Folks, we're bookmarking you as a great guest that we appreciate. Until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, folks, you better believe it, keep having fun.
Hey, Floral, guess what?
You put a fork in Pro's microwave again.
No, that was yesterday.
I don't know that what.
Oh, I've decided to give up on torturing Jonas.
What? Why? In the same way the cat sleeps like 20 hours a day, that was like your purpose.
I know, but I've decided there's bigger fish to fry.
Okay.
Like Lorne. I mean, think about it. Everybody loves him. He's a fan favorite, and frankly, he has almost no weaknesses I can find. Except that he's really smart.
So, you want to annoy the one panelist without a single flaw, because he's smart.
Yeah, like that winged statue at that fancy Paris museum thingy. I want to break the one thing that everyone loves most.
Right. So, kind of like the opposite of Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, exactly. And I get to see her all the time at family reunions anyway.
You get to see Rachel Zegler?
Yeah. I mean, she's a total troll. Lives under a bridge, harasses billy goats, the whole 9 yards.
It all makes sense now.
Speaking of which, maybe she'll get me... Okay, call her on my... I'm gonna call her and see if she'll be in the next Indiana Jones. She should be the next Indiana Jones. That'll totally destroy Lord. He loves Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's cruel.
Hey, Rach. I've I've got a cool idea for you that involves a whip and snakes.
I love that description. It's perfect.
I know, right?
Weird,
Weird, as we always say.